Have you ever wondered how one of the most powerful men in history responded to being insulted? Imagine this. You're the Emperor of Rome. You command armies, control vast territories, and your word could decide life or death. And yet, there are still people who mock you, criticize you, and hurl insults behind your back. How would you react? Would you lash out, defend your pride, or stay silent? Well, Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, chose a response most of us wouldn't expect. And his way of dealing with haters still holds a valuable lesson for us today, in an age where a single negative comment online can ruin someone's day. So, what did he do? Marcus wasn't just a ruler. He was a student of philosophy. Every morning, he'd rise early, long before the sun touched the rooftops of Rome, and reflect on the nature of life, human behavior, and his own role in the grand design of the universe. In his personal journal, a book we now know as Meditations, he wrote not for fame or followers, but to remind himself how to live rightly. And time after time, Marcus came back to one truth. People will say cruel things. They will act out of ignorance, jealousy, and fear. But their words have no power over your peace, unless you give them that power. In Meditations, Marcus wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly." Now that might sound a little bleak for a morning pep talk, right? But Marcus wasn't being pessimistic. He was preparing himself, fortifying his mind before stepping into the world. Have you ever walked into a room already bracing for someone's negativity? Or opened your phone, half expecting a snide comment on your post? Marcus Aurelius would tell you, don't be surprised, expect it, understand it, and most importantly, don't take it personally. But here's the remarkable part. Marcus didn't just accept that people could be cruel. He turned their insults into opportunities for virtue, for patience, and for understanding. In the next part, we'll uncover exactly how he did it, and how you can too. Stick around. Because this ancient wisdom might just change how you deal with your own haters. Now you might be thinking, if Marcus Aurelius expected people to be difficult, wasn't he just becoming numb to the world? Wasn't he closing himself off emotionally? Actually, it was the opposite. Marcus believed that recognizing human flaws wasn't about turning cold or indifferent. It was about seeing others clearly, with wisdom and compassion, instead of blind anger. Picture it like this. If you walked through a crowded street and a stranger accidentally bumped into you, would you scream at them? Or would you simply step aside and carry on, knowing it wasn't personal? That's how Marcus viewed insults. To him, hurtful words were like bumps in a busy street, inevitable but harmless if you refused to cling to them. One of the most powerful ideas in Meditations comes when Marcus reminds himself that the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. In other words, when someone insults you, the greatest response is not to mirror their bitterness, but to remain calm, rational, and kind. Because in doing so, you preserve your dignity and deny them any control over your inner world. Imagine standing in the Roman Senate, surrounded by scheming politicians and sharp-tongued critics. Rumors spread like wildfire. There are whispers behind your back, mocking your decisions, questioning your strength. Now, any ordinary man might strike out, issue a harsh decree, or humiliate his enemies publicly. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. Marcus Aurelius didn't just ignore insults. He used them. He treated every offense, every cutting remark as a chance to practice one of the greatest Stoic virtues, self-mastery. And isn't that a fascinating way to live? To turn what most people see as an attack into an opportunity for growth? Marcus believed that other people's words only have as much power as you give them. Think about it. When someone throws a harsh insult your way, what really happens? The words float through the air, reach your ears, and then it's up to you. You can catch them like burning coals and scorch your hands, or you can let them drop harmlessly to the ground, he wrote in Meditations. When someone does you wrong, you must realize that they act this way because of their own beliefs. It is not up to you to judge them harshly, but to understand and remain just. In other words, if someone speaks cruelly, it reflects their character, not yours. What matters is how you choose to respond, or if you respond at all. Picture this. A Roman senator, his voice sharp as a dagger, mocks Marcus in the public forum. The crowd leans in, eager for retaliation. But Marcus, calm as a still lake at dawn, simply turns his gaze elsewhere, offering neither anger nor contempt. That silence, that refusal to play the game, speaks louder than any insult ever could. In that moment, Marcus wasn't just enduring. He was winning. And this isn't just ancient wisdom reserved for emperors. How often in your own life do you face snide remarks, backhanded compliments, or outright rudeness? At work, online, sometimes even within your own family. Wouldn't it be freeing to realize you don't have to pick up every stone that's thrown at you? That you can leave some of them lying right where they fall? Marcus encouraged himself. And us, to separate what's in our control from what isn't. You can't control whether someone speaks ill of you, but you can control whether you allow it to disturb your peace. This isn't weakness. It's strength in its purest, most disciplined form. The kind of strength no one can take from you because it's built from within. Another beautiful line from Meditations reminds us, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Meaning the highest form of victory isn't to stoop to someone's level, but to rise above it. To meet cruelty with calm. To meet hatred with clarity. It's the ultimate flex. And the one thing haters can never steal from you. Take a second, right now. Think of a time when someone said something cruel to you. How did you respond? Did you let it coil around your thoughts like a snake, tightening with every replay in your mind? Or did you, perhaps unknowingly, follow Marcus's way, recognizing it for what it was and moving on? It's not about pretending words don't sting. They do. Marcus knew that too. But it's about deciding what you'll do next. Will you carry that bitterness with you? Or will you set it down like an old heavy cloak you no longer need to wear? In the next part of our journey, we'll dive even deeper into how Marcus trained his mind to stay unshaken, not just against insults, but against every kind of adversity. From personal betrayal to public failure, his wisdom offers a timeless roadmap for resilience. And trust me, you'll want to hear this next piece. So, stay with me, because the strongest person in any room is the one who stays calm when the storm hits. And Marcus Aurelius? He was a master of that art. But Marcus? He would take a deep breath, remind himself of the nature of people, and carry on. He once wrote that what others say about you reflects them, not you. It's not the insult that harms you, but your own judgment of it. And isn't that still true today? A stranger's nasty comment on social media, a coworker's backhanded remark, or a friend's careless words. They sting only when we choose to accept them as truth. Marcus urges us to pause and ask, is this insult really about me? Or is It a mirror of the other person's struggles? Often you'll realize the latter. People who lash out are wrestling with their own frustrations, insecurities, and fears. Recognizing this doesn't mean you excuse bad behavior, but it frees you from carrying their bitterness as your own. Marcus also believed in controlling what you can control and letting go of the rest. You can't dictate what others will say or think, but you have complete authority over how you respond. In one passage, he reflects, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." It sounds deceptively simple, yet this is one of the most empowering teachings in Stoic philosophy. The moment you stop letting others decide your emotional state, you reclaim your peace. It's like building an invisible shield around your soul. Words may reach your ears, but they'll never touch your heart unless you allow them in. But Marcus didn't stop at just ignoring insults. He turned them into opportunities, moments to strengthen his character, practice patience, and even offer quiet forgiveness. And in the next section, we'll explore how this mindset helped him not only survive Rome's political storms, but thrive within them. Stay with me, because if you've ever struggled with criticism, whether from a stranger, a friend, or even your own thoughts, what comes next might be the lesson you've been searching for. But here's something even more profound about Marcus Aurelius and his response to insults. He didn't merely tolerate them. He saw them as exercises for the soul. Like a weightlifter welcomes heavier loads to build strength, Marcus welcomed moments of provocation as opportunities to sharpen his character, to test the resilience of his inner fortress. In his meditations, Marcus wrote, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." Such a simple yet powerful truth. It reminds us that the final decision over how we feel belongs to us, not to the one hurling insults across the room or the anonymous critic hiding behind a screen. Now imagine this. The imperial court of Rome, bustling with voices, the faint scent of parchment and incense hanging in the air. A bitter senator, envious of Marcus's influence, sneers in front of the assembly, throwing out a cutting remark meant to humiliate. Every eye turns toward the emperor, waiting for a dramatic retort. But Marcus simply turns the page of his scroll as if the insult was a breeze rustling through leaves. No anger, no bitterness, only unshaken calm. This wasn't weakness, it was power. The kind of power built not on loud words, but on quiet mastery. Have you ever noticed how the people who remain composed in the face of mockery often disarm their attackers more effectively than those who lash out? It's as if serenity itself becomes a shield and dignity, a sword that cuts through petty provocations without needing to be drawn. Marcus understood this long before it became a motivational quote on Instagram. And here's the beauty of it. You and I are just as capable of this mastery. Sure, we don't wear togas or preside over legions, but every day we walk through our own courts of judgment. Online trolls, workplace gossip, passive-aggressive remarks at family dinners, these are our modern arenas. And in each, we get to decide whether to let the arrows land or watch them fall harmlessly at our feet. Marcus's advice wasn't some lofty ideal meant only for philosophers or emperors. It was for anyone who sought peace over petty conflict. He would urge us, when offended, look within. Ask yourself, why does this hurt? Is it because their words have truth? Or is it my own ego clinging to pride? Often, you'll find it's the latter. In one passage, he reflects, You can endure anything your mind can make endurable by treating it as an opportunity for strength. What if, instead of recoiling from insults, you started viewing them as tiny weights added to your mental gym? Annoying, yes, but also making you stronger. Picture it like this. Each insult is a stone. You can either carry it on your back until you're crushed under the weight, or you can use it to build a path beneath your feet. Marcus chose the latter. He built his path of stones, and it led to wisdom. And the more he did this, the less power his enemies held over him. Because the truth is, people lose interest in attacking what they can't provoke. It's no fun trying to rattle someone who refuses to be rattled. It turns their game into a mirror, reflecting their own smallness back at them. So ask yourself, who holds the power in your life right now? Is it the critic with the loudest voice, or the calm voice within you, reminding you of your worth? Are you letting stray words unsettle your peace? Or are you choosing, like Marcus, to turn them into stepping stones toward mastery? Because the real test of strength isn't in how loud you can shout back. It's in how gracefully you can stay silent. And as we move into the final part of this story, I'll show you how Marcus Aurelius trained his mind to not only endure criticism, but to genuinely be grateful for it. Yes, you heard that right. Grateful. And once you understand why, you'll never look at your haters the same way again. Stay with me. The best part's coming. Now, here's where Marcus Aurelius did something truly remarkable, something that might sound almost absurd to the modern mind. He didn't just endure insults. He found a way to be grateful for them. Yes, you heard that right. Grateful. Why? Because every harsh word, every unfair judgment, and every cheap shot thrown his way became a chance for him to practice what he valued most: self-mastery. For Marcus, these moments weren't obstacles. They were teachers. Lessons disguised as discomfort. In meditations, he reflected on this. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Meaning, when someone tries to block your peace or shake your composure, that very attempt gives you an opportunity to become stronger, calmer, and wiser than you were before. The insult doesn't hinder you. It becomes the tool that sharpens you. Let's pause and think about that for a moment. Imagine insults as stones hurled toward you. Most people instinctively raise their shields, or worse, hurl stones back. But Marcus, he picked them up, inspected them, and laid them down as part of his path forward, one stone at a time, building a road of resilience. And isn't there something powerful about that image? A road paved not with ease, but with trials. Each insult, each provocation, a stepping stone underfoot rather than a burden on your back. This is where his Stoic wisdom feels so deeply relevant, even today. How often do we allow stray words, passing comments, or anonymous online jabs to ruin our day? How quickly do we surrender our peace to people who don't deserve that kind of power over us? Marcus would advise us differently. He'd say, the opinion of others belongs to them, not to you. What truly belongs to you is your judgment of those words, and whether you decide to let them shape your inner world. And more than that, he believed criticism was a kind of mirror. If what was said about you was true, then be grateful for the feedback, use it, improve. If it was false, then why be disturbed by something that has no grounding in reality? It's like being called a terrible singer when you've never sung a note in your life. Does that insult hold any weight? Of course not. So why let it echo in your mind? This clarity, this calm discernment, was Marcus's superpower, and it can be ours too. Now here's something Marcus would quietly remind us of. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. Not every criticism requires a reply. Not every insult deserves your attention. Sometimes the wisest move is silence, not out of weakness, but out of supreme confidence. Picture a mountain. Does it tremble when the wind howls or the rain falls? No. It stands firm, indifferent to storms. Marcus Aurelius modeled his spirit after that kind of immovable strength. And you know what? The more he practiced this, the freer he became. Free from petty conflicts. Free from chasing approval. Free from the exhausting need to be understood by everyone. That's why, in the final chapters of his life, Marcus Aurelius could face betrayal, sickness, and loss without bitterness. Because he understood a truth most people spend a lifetime chasing. Peace isn't something others grant you. It's something you claim for yourself. So the next time someone throws an insult your way, ask yourself, what would Marcus do? Would he lash out? Would he sulk? Or would he quietly, calmly, turn it into a stepping stone on his path toward wisdom? The choice, as it always has been, is yours. And if you've enjoyed walking through the mind of a Stoic emperor today, don't forget. The lessons aren't ancient relics. They're living tools for our modern lives, and there you have it, a glimpse into how a Roman emperor, surrounded by power, enemies, and endless opinions, chose inner peace over petty conflict. Marcus Aurelius didn't just teach philosophy, he lived it. And his wisdom isn't something to admire from afar. It's a weapon we can wield today, every time life tests our patience, our pride, or our peace. If this story sparked something in you, or reminded you of a moment you handled better than you used to, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear it. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and join us on Stoic Scrolls. Because life may not get easier, but you can get stronger. See you in the next scroll.